Welcome to Big Red Leads. I'm Big Red, getting you and your business back to the black. How is everybody doing? It's been a minute. Um, a lot has transpired in the past several months. I haven't been with you guys. Um, we still post things here and there, but um, I had a health scare a few months back, and things have changed. And what we're talking about today, though, what I wanted to talk to everybody about today was the fact that with all the craziness going on in the world, um, people have changed. People have been molded and programmed in a way that is affecting everyday society, the financial issues that are going on around the world. People's mental health is actually a talking point now. It makes you wonder what's really going on, and who is still solid, like like those people who are true to themselves and are true to their friends and family. Like, where are we at? The reason I bring this up, the reason I'm talking about this, is because when I had my health scare, I had a heart attack um, a couple months ago. Now, mind you, I'm in, well, at least I thought I was, pretty decent shape. And, health is something that, um, when it comes to my priority list, is something that's very important to me. At the same time, within these past few months, lost a lot of family, a lot of people who were mentors to me, who were influential to me, who helped mold the red that you see before you today. At the same time, friends who are my age, a lot of us are in our 40s, are having their own health issues. And here's the crazier part: their younger siblings and younger men and women that I know are having health issues. And we're talking about people in their late 20s and mid, early 30s. And I'm not going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole. I'm not going to do that with you guys because I care about you too much. But what I will say and what I will speak to is, we'll go back to pre-pandemic. Just pay attention to the people who are around you and the friends and family that you had prior to and are still current with. How have they changed? A lot of that isolation for a lot of folks has affected them, and it's still affecting them to this day. Now, mind you, if these people are in positions of, I would say, authority, influence, um, tastemakers, if you will, people who are out in the community doing whatever type of works they're doing, whether they have a business, how have you how has that change affected your relationships with them? This goes back to what was once solid, not so much anymore. The morals and principles that we were raised on, the things that guided us when we had moments of challenge and struggle. What happened to those moments? Part of the reason I'm even speaking on this today is because it's all connected. All of it. All of it. Whether you believe in Jesus, God, universe, Allah, Buddha, whoever you pray to, meditate, like whatever you do that gets you spiritually and mentally right or corrected in alignment, if you will. How has that changed? How is that foundation strong? Like, is it still holding up for you when you're having moments of doubt and struggle and conflict? How do you handle conflict? Talking to a friend of mine, a brother of mine. This brother is motivating and inspiring in the same breath. And just chatting with him, because I mean he's a distance away. He's on another coast. And in the conversation that we were having, what came up was a lot of the people that we call OGs, your great uncles, your grandparents, like the elders, are passing away. And there's not too many of our generation who are solid in that way, are cut from that cloth. Now, how does this tie into business and public relations and things like that? Like, how does all this tie together? Well, that time period of 2020, 21, it's affected people in a way that they are not as mentally strong as they thought they were. When I there's a video that we did, I don't know, it's been a few years now. You might have to go through the Big Red Leads archives to go find it, but where we're talking about spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself, the foundation of you. Do you have enough of those building blocks so that your foundation is solid when things go awry? And what makes you you? Not what do you do, not what do you do. What makes you you? What makes you the individual that you are today? So without those elders now, without those hopefully words of wisdom that you received, those gems, if you will, did you actually listen? Did you soak that up? Did you apply? Because people have knowledge, people can gain knowledge, people can seek wisdom, you can seek knowledge, but if you're not applying it, does it matter? The elders who were in my life, all of them, except for maybe 2 out of probably 60, gave me something free of charge. When I say free of charge, they weren't a consultant, they weren't an advisor. They'd been through something and they shared that experience with you, and it might not have popped up in your life 10, 15, 20 years later, that what they said, if you remembered it and then you applied it to your own well-being, whether it be your business, your career, your family, how you treat friends, how you treat your relatives, whether that applied at that time or not, you had it in your toolbox. You had it in your utility belt. You had it somewhere in the back of that storage, in that mental computer, that giant computer that you have, that a lot of people do not access as much as they would like to believe. It's there. You have everything that you need. So what makes you you shouldn't be It shouldn't pertain to what you do for a living, what you do to get, make the ends meet, if you will. Now, I'm speaking on this stuff because speaking to my friend, my brother, him venturing out, traveling with his business, going to another coast, if you will. That took courage. As a younger man, I did something very similar. I moved to the other side of the country, not telling all of my family, on a hunch. And yes, I'd been putting things in place to make that transition a little smoother, but it was just something that I needed to do. Getting, not necessarily out of the nest, I was already out of the nest, but taking on a challenge and challenging myself and putting myself in positions where I had to show what I was made of, show that, that I'm a solid individual, like when it comes to being there for my friends. And I'm not just talking about the monetary means of being there for your friends or your family, but being there in a way, like maybe just being a sounding board for somebody, showing and giving grace to those who you might have felt at one point they did you wrong, they did you dirty. What has changed is a lot more people are willing to play dirty than they are to be solid individuals. That's what I really got out of the conversation with my friend, because what we were going back and forth about is I recently lost an elder in my family he's one of the cornerstones. And it's not like I seen him every day, or, to be totally honest with you and transparent with you guys, it's not like I was seeing him every, once a month or every 3 months. Usually around holidays and things like that. But I know what he meant to my family and friends, the people who he come across, because he's constantly giving young people the game, the wisdom, the knowledge. And if you apply it, great. If you didn't, you didn't. So what makes a friend a friend? What makes a solid individual a solid individual? Do they have a backbone? Do they speak up for those who are not in, quote unquote, their position? Being attached to titles and things like that, that's not what moves society, much less the globe. Most people think it does, because that's what you've been programmed to believe. If you have enough solid individuals, those people who are the roots of your foundation, like they might not be a manager of a business, they might not be a business owner, they might just be somebody who works a 9 to 5. But they're respected in their communities. They're respected in their peer group. They're respected in areas and places where they go, where they might not know anyone, but they have the respect because they actually give out respect. And they're not using people for what they deem would be just something that would be just transactional. Because all energy transference of energy, that's a transaction. But today, when you hear the word transactional, that's most relationships today. What are you spiritually gaining from being around this person? What are you mentally gaining from being around this person? What are you giving mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically from another person? Are you connecting with people on a genuine and authentic level? Like, it wasn't something that was forced, or manipulated to be a relationship. I'm saying all this to say that it's not as difficult as it may seem because you're attached to things and titles and materialism. And once you get past that and you actually get to know a person, like I got friends of mine since we were toddlers. I also have friends that I met later on in life, in early adulthood. What I'm saying is, what makes a solid individual is someone who actually speaks up for the people who are quote unquote the meek. Not necessarily the downtrodden, but speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, or won't speak for themselves, or can't speak for themselves. So I want you to think about that. Like, where are you with your life? Do you try to do the quote unquote morally right thing? And when you do, is there anyone there to recognize it? Or acknowledge it, for that matter? Because seeking approval today, it's almost like it has to be a necessity. I don't need your approval to make a decision on my life, for my family, for my well-being, and what I should and shouldn't be doing. First of all, I would never tell someone what they should or should not do. Now, if they're coming to me as a client, or they're coming to me as just a friend or an associate, given the scenario, we're having a conversation, and it comes up something that they're experiencing. If I have something that I've experienced that is similar to that, I'm gonna give them what I did, how I approached it, how I approached the situation, how I handled the situation, how I moved through it, how I pivoted, how I made the actual decision to go forward with the idea, or go forward with the movement that was there and presented to me, because that's what I had to do at the time. It's not what I wanted to do necessarily, but this is what I had to do at that time. Because in every scenario, when we're talking about hanging around people who are actually genuine and authentic with you, you should be as well. I'm not hanging around somebody just because I'm getting something from them. If I enjoy their company and we can have a genuine conversation, and we're just a couple guys hanging out, a couple women hanging out, friends just hanging out. Obviously, I already like you in the sense of who you are. Can you answer the question, who are you? What would people say about you at your funeral? What would people say about you in a room full of people who don't know you about you? I asked this question, and in all my years of consulting, working in sales, working in manufacturing, working in production, working in warehouses, delivering pizzas, working at fast food restaurants when I was a youngster. Out of the thousands of people that I've spoken to, I can honestly say there might have been 16, 17 people who could actually answer that question about themselves in being truthful. Understand this, we're all flawed. in some way, form, or fashion. Everybody has flaws. Everybody has things that they want to work on, the things that they want to get better at. But the question is, who are you? Can you answer that? Being solid isn't solid anymore. Being down for the cause can be compromised. I'll be totally honest with you. If you spoke to 100 people, I'd say 80, 80 of them would compromise their own morals, their own morality and integrity for a bag. I'm being nice. I said 80, so 80%. Being very nice. Most people don't even call themselves religious anymore. I'm not a religious person, never have been. But my spirit's intact. Some people need the structure of religion. Some people need the structure of understanding that this is something that is required of you to reach another level. Whatever that success level is for you, cool. Do you give back? Do you motivate? Do you inspire? These are all things that I look forward to meeting when I meet someone. I look forward to having that experience with a person. To just having that conversation. Oh, what do you do? How long have you been doing that? What type of training did you have to go through to reach the level that you're at now? And who are you? The question isn't asked for my own ego, or it's coming from a genuine place, because the elders in my life, the big chunk of them could answer that question with no problem. But once you step out of that space of elders, most people don't have a clue who they are. And this is where they run into issues. What do they stand for? What will you not bend for a bag? And yes, the financial situation is, eggs are $1,000. I'm just curious. Like I said, part of the reason, the reason I asked these questions today is because if we continue to go down this path of everything being a transaction, authenticity is being pushed aside, like it's being removed. Being a genuine, good person is being ostracized. Being honest and truthful being honest and truthful is painful to some folks. A lot of folks. Let's just be honest about it. It's painful for a lot of folks. You know that you're living above your means, but yet you still continue to do that. You know that you can't afford going out every single weekend, but you continue to do it. You know that you have responsibilities outside of yourself that you need to take care of. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm dealing with things right now. I'm dealing with real things right now. And seeking perfection isn't my goal. And that's a question that you have to ask yourself. Is that a goal for you to be perfect? Because let's be totally honest, that's not the reality of the world. That's not the reality of the 8-9 billion people who are on the planet. Getting better every day is actually the goal, progressing. And sometimes you might, and sometimes in life, I mean, if you're old enough and you've been through some things, sometimes you gotta take a step back. Sometimes you actually have to take a step back and look at where you are, reassess, reevaluate, pivot, and go that way. And for a lot of people, when most folks are going that way, they go that way too, knowing that that's not the direction that they need to be going in. But they don't want to do it alone. You're not alone. There are other people out here doing the same thing. And it's not just to be a contrarian, it's not just to be weird about it, but doing what everyone else is doing is what got you in the predicament that you're in now. Being a passenger instead of a driver of your own life. Letting other people direct the movie that is your life. You're not even the star in your own movie? I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't resonate with my spirit. That's not my ministry. The way I was raised, the people who raised me, the people who poured into me, the people who gave willingly and freely to me, the knowledge and the wisdom that I have today that influences hundreds and hundreds and if not thousands of people, and I'm able to speak to people in a way that is transparent, being honest, and give them everything that I have in the sense of this might help. Or just being a sounding board and letting people verbally vomit on me. Get it out. Don't carry that around with you. You're going to have a stroke doing that. And learning to let go. People are going to do what they want to do, whether they have your permission or not. Now, how it affects you is different for everyone. But what it's not going to do is stress me out to the point where I have more gray hair than I already have. Or give me another heart attack. Sometimes you have to let things go. And sometimes that might be that friend who's nothing more than a leaf on a tree, blowing any which way the wind blows. I'm not going along just to get along, because if that's the case, you're better off being alone. You're better off, there was an expression, I can do bad all by myself. No one wants to be alone, but sometimes being alone is a necessity to get where you need to be, so that you can actually spend some time in those moments when it's cloudy outside, it's raining, and you need to sit your ass down and think, what's my next move? What's my next 6 moves? What's my next 10 moves? Do I need to go back to school? Do I need to find out, get some new training? Do I need to take time to paint? Do I need to take time to write? Do I need to take time to create? Maybe I need to just plan out my work week. If you have solid individuals in your life and they see that you are one of them people who claim to be him or her, and they know that you are that and you don't see it in yourself, that means you're too busy doing nothing. Busy doing what? The same. I'm not talking to people about getting on your purpose, because I'm not doing that today. All I'm simply saying is things have changed to the point where people are indecisive about their own life, and it's scary because it's yours. You already own it. From the moment that your father planted the seed in your mother and you came out 9.5, 10 months later, it's your life. Of course, you don't want to see somebody that you care for going down a rabbit hole, but friends tell friends when they're messing up. Solid people in your life will tell you when you're messing up. You're screwing this up. Now, it does not mean that you can't redeem yourself. You can't ask for forgiveness. You can't make mistakes. I've made tons of mistakes, and I'm going to make more, just like you are. This is where the perfection thing is ridiculous, because if you're not getting better, then you're staying stagnant. And staying stagnant and plateauing is the reason why most people fall off. Because if you've ever seen a plateau, it goes up, reaches a level, and then it levels off, and then there's a drop off. The fall off is real for people. A lot of times it's not even the financial aspect of it. That's the scary part. So, I say all that to say this. Pay attention to the people who are solid and good to you. Not necessarily nice to you. Well-mannered towards you. Those are things that should already be taking place. And not everybody's against you. Yes, there are real victims out here to things and circumstances and situations that do occur. Most people aren't. You're not. So, I'll just leave it at that. Love y'all, my friends. Have a good one. It's been a minute. Just checking in. Who are you? And do you have some solid people in your life? Do you have relationships that are not transactional? Yeah, I know, Gerald. Love you all. This is Big Red signing off. Like, share, definitely subscribe to the channel. Catch you again, my friends. Love you all.